A billionaire's autistic son never spoke, never looked anyone in the eye, and spent his days lining up toys in perfect rows. Everyone believed he didn't understand the world around him. But when his father's business partner was found dead under suspicious circumstances and the police had no leads, the boy did something unexpected. He walked to a chessboard, moved 6 pieces into a specific pattern, and wouldn't move again until someone understood. What that pattern revealed didn't just solve the murder. It exposed a conspiracy that went straight to the top. Before we continue with this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Oh, and don't forget to comment below where you're watching us from. We love to know that. Marcus Brennan was one of the wealthiest tech entrepreneurs in the country, having built a software empire that dominated the industry. His son, Ethan, was 9 years old, nonverbal, and diagnosed with severe autism. Ethan spent most of his time in the Brennan Mansion's library, a quiet room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the estate's gardens. He didn't play with typical toys. Instead, he lined up wooden blocks in precise rows, organized books by height and color, and arranged chess pieces on a board his grandfather had left behind. Marcus watched from a distance, loving his son deeply, but struggling to connect with him. Ethan never made eye contact, never responded to his name, and seemed to exist in a world entirely his own. Marcus's business partner, Vincent Archer, visited the mansion frequently. Vincent was charming, confident, and handled the company's financial operations, while Marcus focused on product development. They'd built the company together 15 years ago, and their partnership had made them both extraordinarily wealthy. Vincent was one of the few people allowed into Ethan's routine. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Vincent would sit in the library while Marcus and he discussed business. Ethan would be nearby, arranging his chess pieces, seemingly oblivious to their presence. Vincent often joked that Ethan was the best secret keeper in the world, since he never repeated anything he heard. One Thursday evening, Vincent left the mansion after a tense meeting with Marcus. They'd been arguing more frequently over the company's direction. Marcus wanted to expand into international markets. Vincent preferred consolidating their current position. Staff overheard raised voices but thought nothing of it. Business disagreements were normal. Vincent drove away around 8 o'clock. His car was found the next morning crashed into a tree on a remote road 20 miles from the estate. Vincent was dead. The police ruled it a tragic accident. The brake lines had failed, causing Vincent to lose control. Marcus was devastated. He gave a tearful statement to the press, praising Vincent as a brother and brilliant partner. But Detective Lisa Chen wasn't convinced. She'd been assigned to review the case and noticed troubling details. The brake lines showed signs of tampering, not wear. The cut was too clean, too precise. Someone had sabotaged Vincent's car. Chen opened a murder investigation. She interviewed everyone at the Brennan estate the day Vincent died. The staff reported nothing unusual. Marcus cooperated fully, providing alibis, phone records, and security footage, showing he'd been home all evening. Chen had no evidence tying Marcus to the crime, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. 2 days after Vincent's death, Ethan did something he'd never done before. He walked into his father's office where Marcus sat going through Vincent's files with the company's lawyers. Ethan moved silently to the corner where a decorative chess set sat on a side table. Without looking at anyone, he began moving pieces. Marcus barely noticed at first, accustomed to Ethan's rituals. But then one of the lawyers said, "That's odd. He's not just arranging them. He's setting up an actual game position." Marcus turned and watched. Ethan placed the white king in the center of the board, surrounded by black knights, rooks, and pawns forming a tight barrier. Then he positioned a single white bishop far from the king, isolated on the edge. Ethan stepped back, rocked on his heels twice, and left the room. The lawyers looked at Marcus. "Does he do that often?" Marcus shook his head. "Never. He usually just lines them up by piece type. He's never created a position like that." Marcus photographed the board with his phone, intending to show Ethan's therapist during their next session. But that night, he couldn't stop thinking about it. The isolated white bishop, the trapped white king. It felt deliberate, almost like Ethan was trying to communicate something. Marcus stayed up late researching chess positions, trying to understand if the pattern had meaning. He found nothing conclusive and went to bed frustrated. The next morning, Detective Chen returned with more questions. She'd discovered that Vincent had recently taken out a massive life insurance policy with Marcus as the beneficiary. Additionally, Vincent's personal finances were in disarray. He owed money to several creditors and had been moving funds within the company in ways that raised red flags. Chen asked Marcus directly, "Did you know Vincent was embezzling from your company?" Marcus went pale. "No, that's impossible. Vincent handled finances, but we had auditors. They would have caught something." Chen showed him the evidence. Vincent had been siphoning money into offshore accounts for at least 2 years, covering his tracks with false invoices and shell companies. Marcus felt sick. His partner, his friend, had been stealing from him. Chen continued, "The insurance policy was taken out 3 months ago. If Vincent died, you'd receive $10 million. Combined with his embezzlement, there's a strong motive for murder." Marcus stood abruptly. "I didn't kill him. I didn't even know about any of this." Chen watched him carefully. "Where were you between 7 and 9 p.m. on the night Vincent died?" Marcus repeated his alibi. "Home, alone in my office. I have security footage showing I never left the property." Chen nodded. "We've reviewed that footage. You're clearly visible at home, but that doesn't eliminate the possibility of hiring someone." Marcus's jaw tightened. "I didn't hire anyone. I had nothing to do with Vincent's death." Chen left, but Marcus could tell she still suspected him. He paced his office, mind racing. Vincent had betrayed him, but Marcus hadn't known until just now. How could the police think he'd killed over something he didn't even know about? He needed to prove his innocence, but how? That afternoon, Marcus sat in the library staring at the chessboard Ethan had arranged. His son was nearby, lining up colored pencils by shade. Marcus studied the board again, the trapped white king, the isolated bishop. On impulse, he called his company's head of security, Raymond Cole. "Ray, I need you to look into something. Vincent's death wasn't an accident. Someone tampered with his car. I need to know who." Raymond arrived within the hour. Marcus explained the detective's suspicions and the evidence of embezzlement. Raymond listened carefully, then said, "If Vincent was stealing and someone found out, maybe they killed him to silence him before he was exposed. Or maybe it was revenge." Marcus nodded. "But who, and how do I prove I had nothing to do with it?" Raymond glanced at the chessboard. "What's that?" Marcus explained Ethan's unusual behavior, setting up the position after Vincent's death. Raymond studied the board. "I'm not a chess expert, but that looks like a zugzwang position. It's when any move a player makes worsens their position. The king is trapped." Marcus frowned. Why would Ethan set that up? Raymond pulled out his phone and took a picture. "Let me send this to a friend who's a chess master. Maybe he can tell us if it means something specific." While they waited, Marcus watched Ethan, who continued organizing pencils, seemingly unaware of the adult's conversation. 20 minutes later, Raymond's phone buzzed. He read the message and looked up, eyes wide. "My friend says this is a famous position from a historical game. It's called the Immortal Zugzwang. One player is trapped and any move leads to immediate defeat. But here's the interesting part. The bishop on the edge represents the player who set the trap. The bishop is safe, watching the king's downfall from a distance." Marcus felt a chill. Ethan set this up right after Vincent died. The trapped king could represent Vincent. But who's the bishop? Raymond's expression darkened. Someone who orchestrated Vincent's death while staying removed from it. Someone who knew about the embezzlement and used it to their advantage. Marcus thought hard. Who else knew about Vincent's financial activities? Who had access to the company's inner workings? Then it hit him. Diana Foster, our CFO, she oversees all audits. If Vincent was embezzling, she either missed it or knew about it. Raymond nodded. And if she knew, she could have used it as leverage or blackmail. They pulled Diana's records. She'd been with the company for 8 years, reporting directly to Vincent. Marcus called her immediately. "Diana, I need you to come to the estate, now." She arrived 30 minutes later, professional and calm. Marcus confronted her directly. "Did you know Vincent was embezzling?" Diana didn't flinch. "Yes, I discovered it 6 months ago." Marcus felt rage building. "Why didn't you tell me?" Diana's expression remained neutral. "Vincent said he'd frame me if I did. He had documents falsified with my signature, making it look like I was complicit. I had proof of my innocence, but he threatened to release the false documents publicly before I could defend myself. I was trapped." Raymond leaned forward. "So you killed him?" Diana's eyes widened. "No, I didn't kill anyone. Yes, I wanted him exposed, but I didn't kill him." Marcus didn't believe her. "You had motive. You could have hired someone to tamper with his car." Diana stood, angry now. "I was planning to come forward. I'd gathered all the evidence proving Vincent's guilt and my innocence. I was going to present it to the board next week. I didn't need to kill him." Detective Chen, who'd been monitoring the situation after Raymond tipped her off, entered the room. "Miss Foster, we'll need you to come to the station for questioning." Diana went willingly, still insisting on her innocence. Chen turned to Marcus. "This doesn't clear you, but it opens new avenues. If Diana's telling the truth, someone else knew about the embezzlement." Marcus felt exhausted. He returned to the library where Ethan sat, now building a tower of blocks. Marcus stared at the chessboard again. The isolated bishop, safe, watching. Then something clicked. The bishop wasn't Diana. Diana was trapped too, just like the king. The bishop was someone else, someone who'd orchestrated everything from a safe distance. Marcus called Raymond. "Pull the security footage from Vincent's last visit. I want to see everyone who was here that day." They reviewed the footage together. Staff came and went. Vincent arrived and argued with Marcus in the office. Then, in the background of one frame, Marcus saw someone else, Gregory Hale, the company's head legal counsel. Gregory had been at the estate that day, something Marcus had completely forgotten. Gregory had accessed the garage area where Vincent's car was parked. Marcus felt cold. Gregory had been with the company from the beginning. He handled all contracts, legal issues, and had intimate knowledge of the company's finances. If anyone could orchestrate a perfect frame job, it was Gregory. Raymond pulled Gregory's phone records. On the night of Vincent's death, Gregory's phone pinged near the location where Vincent's car crashed. Gregory had followed Vincent. They brought everything to Detective Chen. The chessboard position, Gregory's presence at the estate, his phone records, and a motive. Gregory had discovered Vincent's embezzlement months ago and used it to blackmail him. When Vincent threatened to expose Gregory's own illegal activities using company funds for personal investments, Gregory decided Vincent had to go. He tampered with the car, knowing Vincent's route home, and watched from a distance as the crash occurred. The isolated bishop, safe and watching. Chen arrested Gregory that evening. When confronted, he initially denied everything, but forensic evidence from his car showed traces of brake fluid matching Vincent's vehicle. Under interrogation, Gregory confessed. He admitted to blackmailing Vincent, tampering with the car, and then positioning Marcus and Diana as suspects to deflect attention. He'd been confident that one of them would take the fall while he remained safely in the background. Marcus stood in the library after Gregory's arrest, staring at the chessboard. Ethan had known. Somehow, his son had witnessed something, understood something, and communicated it the only way he could. Marcus knelt beside Ethan, who was arranging blocks again. "Thank you," Marcus whispered, even though Ethan showed no sign of hearing. "You saved me." That night, Marcus carefully photographed the chessboard before dismantling it. He had the image framed and hung in his office as a reminder. Intelligence doesn't always speak with words, and understanding doesn't always come from eye contact. But Marcus saw him differently now. His son wasn't oblivious. He was watching, processing, understanding in ways others couldn't see. The case made national news. Autistic boy solves murder through chess. Ethan never acknowledged the attention, never changed his behavior. But Marcus knew the truth. The world had underestimated his son, assuming silence meant absence. But Ethan had been there all along, seeing everything, and when it mattered most, he'd found a way to speak, not with words, but with the quiet, precise language of a boy who saw patterns no one else could see.